All right, mics are hot. All right.
We are up and running.
You ready for the intro?
Let's do it.
This is gonna be it. Welcome to MVP. I'm Carlos. And this is my buddy Eddie. Say hi, Eddie.
Hey, this is for all the 3 followers that I'm gonna have on here.
Welcome to MVP, Man Cave Video Podcast. This is the very first episode, and Eddie decided to come over before work, and I decided to get about an hour and a half of sleep after work, so that way we could go ahead and get something recording. And here we are.
So yeah, we're firing on all cylinders today.
Yep, everything. So if we look super tired, no big deal. We're not sponsored by Red Bull, but we got some Red Bulls here.
But if you want to, definitely come through.
I'm not gonna protest that. I'm cool with that. That's cool with me. So, what are we going to talk about today? You know, Eddie, so with the biggest things going on right now in movies, right?
Yeah.
Did you saw that Avengers Endgame passed up Avatar?
I did see that.
In the box
I
office?
watched that post. Honestly, I liked Avatar when it was called The Smurfs.
That was a lot better title for it, I thought.
I think so.
Yeah.
It was just, I think Avatar, the story about it is just kind of preserving the earth. But in all honesty, I feel like it was one of those big budget films just to show off the display of how they looked. But in all honesty, Avengers just killed it.
You know, I read so many different articles that were talking about how Avatar is it's basically a play off the Pocahontas storyline, right? Then they were talking, you know, there's a foreign man who comes into a society or civilization of natives, and he fits in really well after a little while, and he really enjoys what he's doing there, and then he ends up falling in love with a girl there, and he ends up fighting his own kind where he came back from. You know, sure, whatever. I guess so. I can see it. I'm not gonna lie, I can see it, but I'm not really gonna advocate one or the other. But I will say that I think Avatar was a great visual wise. That movie was amazing.
But I think as for story wise, I feel like that story's been way overdone.
I think so too. There was nothing original really about the story other than that this guy gets in a sleeping bag and then transforms into this giant blue creature, or his conscience goes into this giant blue creature.
Yeah.
So that was about it. But I was super happy being a huge Marvel fan. I was so happy when I saw that Avengers finally beat out Avatar. I mean, that was like one of my like highlights of my day when I saw that happened. It wasn't by much, but I think Avatar. Do you remember how long Avatar was in theaters for?
That was around for almost 2 months.
No,
Give
it
or
was
take even longer than that.
I'm pretty sure it was like 4 or 5 months that Avatar was in theaters, man. Because I remember it. You know, was the 3D movie.
Yeah,
and it was huge. I mean, what year did it come out? 2010?
2010, 2009, if I remember right.
Something like that.
And they made a big deal about it because James Cameron directed it.
Yes.
And that's the same guy, if I remember right, who did Titanic.
Yes, and Titanic used to be the #1 movie.
Yeah.
And then Avatar overtook that title, and both being James Cameron, it was a huge deal. Everyone loved the fact that James Cameron just blew it out of the water again.
Well, what I liked about it too is that Avengers just completely blew it out of the water, though.
Yeah.
Because Avengers made up that money that Avatar grossed in just a couple days or that weekend of the showing.
It was I can't remember.
I was
exactly,
gonna say you've done your research on that.
Yeah,
one.
I know that they just surpassed Avatar for the overall box office, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just passed that a few days ago. Maybe it was like a week ago now, but that just happened. Avatar was in theaters, I'm pretty sure 4 or 5 months, and Avengers Endgame came out in April. You know, and not even like the beginning.
April?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like
mid-April,
April
right?
25th, I think.
Yeah.
Was the release date. Because I went and saw it, I believe, on the 29th. I actually have my movie tickets are sitting up there next to my Marvel glasses, and I have my
like that.
movie ticket still for Avengers Infinity War, and I still have my movie ticket for Avengers Endgame up
Infinity War. That was the one where they I don't know if you haven't watched the movie. Spoilers, but that's where they disintegrate into these little triangles.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is gonna be very spoilerish
Yeah.
for people who haven't seen new movies.
If you haven't watched these movies, go ahead and click to another video. Never mind. Just stay on here.
And there was the pause right there, so you had your chance to click away. So now, if you didn't click away, it's your own fault.
Good
You've
point.
been warned. Yeah, man, I was very happy. I'm a huge Marvel fan, and so I was so happy when I saw that. And in Endgame, I think really deserved it. I mean, it was a beautiful movie. I thought.
I thought so too. I mean, since you're on the topic of Marvel, what's your take on Deadpool being its own, being with Fox?
You know, I love it because of what
Really?
they've done with it. Because I think if Deadpool wouldn't have been on Fox or wouldn't have been owned by Fox, you know, the rights to Deadpool wouldn't have been owned by Fox, I think he never would have been an R-rated film. Deadpool has to be an R-rated film. Look at Logan. I mean,
That was a
how
good
many
movie.
Wolverine movies did we get? So, I can't even speak. Wolverine, he's my favorite superhero. That's my all-time favorite. Wolverine is my
Okay.
favorite, right? And how many times do we see him, you know, in the X-Men, and then we saw him in his own films. And Hugh Jackman is the perfect actor. I don't know if
I
they'll
think
ever
so.
get a better casting for him, but Hugh Jackman did an amazing job. He was always in great shape for those films, and they didn't show the blood, the gore, him chopping people up and just ripping people apart until Logan came out. And it was sad that it took that long, but it wasn't until Deadpool came out and they made that art or the rated R film of Deadpool that Logan came out and was a huge success as well.
So you're saying Deadpool pretty much revolutionized the whole superhero game right there,
Absolutely,
or when
man.
it comes to movies?
I think that so many people got on the tangent that that Marvel and superhero movies were for kids
Yeah.
instead of for adults. And the thing that they don't realize is if you go back and read the comics back when they were coming out, you know, in the 70s and 80s, those comics were not kid friendly comics. Let's put it that way. There's a reason why all these dark backstories are there. You know, like Wolverine and
As to why they're called graphic novels.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they weren't for kids in the first place. So Deadpool just completely changed the name of the game, I think, man. And I'm excited to see what else that they're gonna come out with.
I'm hoping they make new ones for it, but I feel as to the second one, I don't know if you've watched it, but the one with Cable,
With Cable, yeah.
yeah, the
And the
same
Juggernaut,
dude, yeah,
dude, the Juggernaut and that was amazing.
that was a good
I mean,
story.
he was the perfect Juggernaut. I mean, it was obviously all CGI, right?
Yeah,
You know,
sure,
but
but
who cares, man?
look
It
at the
was
detail that was put
amazing.
into it, though.
Yeah, I mean that you have to. I mean, do you remember in the X-Men movie? I can't remember what it is now. It was the third X-Men movie with Jean Grey, and she was it the last? No, not the Last Stand. Was it the Last Stand? And they had
I
the
think
Juggernaut
so.
in that one, and it was
Yeah,
can't remember who played him, but he was just like a normal sized dude, just like a really jacked dude, like Arnold Schwarzenegger sized dude.
I feel like those X-Men movies, the early ones, really fall flat on their face. Maybe it's just because they're dated, but I feel like the first one, and then from there, they weren't very good until Logan.
Yeah, I mean they're enjoyable to watch, but they're nothing what they could have been.
Yeah,
They are so much potential there that was just untapped
just like
potential.
Days of Future Past. Is that the one with Magneto?
Yes,
I
yeah,
feel like there was something missing in all those
yeah.
movies.
Days of Future Past was okay. I don't know, man. I think there was just a lot that could have been done and they tried too hard to do other things. They had a
Mhm.
great storyline to follow. There's so many comics about the X-Men, and they just kind of
Even
they
that
just kind of went
show.
away.
I don't know if you probably watched it from the is it late 90s? The
Which one?
that super epic intro. You know
I
what
don't
I'm
know.
talking about, right?
No, I don't.
We'll
You're
have to
over
check
here
that one
singing to
out.
me, and I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, no, I think you're right about Deadpool. Though it was a great movie.
I like
Both of
it.
them actually. You know, it's really hard to see a movie come out that has a second movie that they can compete with it. Normally, the first one comes out right,
Yeah,
and it's just amazing.
that's
And so
because it's
when the
showing
second one comes out,
the
it's
whole
like
development of the backstory. But I think they did a really good job with it as well.
they did a really good job with the second one. I mean, they had a level to meet, and they definitely met that level. I mean, they did a really good job at it.
Marvel, if you're watching this, please sponsor us.
Yes, please. How about Stan Lee, man?
That's
That
a
was
tragedy,
a tragedy,
honestly.
man. I'm not gonna lie. I maybe had a few tears that when the news came out.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, he was made to entertain. He was a
He
creative
really
genius,
was.
honestly.
He was amazing. I mean, you know what the best thing was the fact that he cameoed in all the films.
Every single movie.
I mean, it was perfect.
Have
It
you
really
watched?
was.
He's even in the Spider-Man, the animated one.
Yes,
Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. Yeah,
That one was a really good movie as well.
that one was pretty good as well. Yeah, I actually just recently watched that one and I enjoyed it. It took me a second time to watch it. I turned it on one night and it was a night that I couldn't sleep or something, like, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning. I ended up falling asleep like halfway through.
Just to slowly doze off.
Yeah, so then I ended up having to go back and watch it again, but yeah, no, it was a good movie.
I think it does take a second watch, especially getting past kind of the blockier animation that comes with it. But I think it's a one of a kind.
It definitely, the animation on it is one of a kind in itself. I mean, it looks like a moving comic book.
That's what I was about to say too.
It's really cool. Like I don't know who came up with that, but bravo to you, sir or ma'am, whoever. Not saying that it had to be a guy. Very well could have been a woman. I'm not sexist. I love women, but
I mean, who doesn't though at that point?
Right. So, but you know what gets me, man, is all the different movie mistakes that people will catch.
As in, like, just the general public, or like your YouTube
people
guys,
or like critics and stuff, and it's like, dude, how did you even find that, or how'd you even see that? I don't pay attention that much in the movies, but have you ever seen the movie Jarhead?
I haven't.
No. Okay, so Jarhead is a great movie. It's a great movie, probably because I was in the military.
Oh, that's the one with Christian Bale.
No. This is Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
And they in like Desert Storm.
I think I've only watched a trailer when it comes to that one.
Man. But
now I know what I got to do when I get home.
So there's a part in the movie where they're in the desert. There's a part in it that's like 3/4 of the movie is them in the desert. Anyways, in the movie they're wearing Oakley sunglasses. And there's a very specific part that people pointed it out, and they're like digging some fighting holes, some foxholes, and people pointed it out that when during Desert Storm those Oakley sunglasses had not come out yet, that they hadn't come out for like another like 2 or 3 years, and I was just like, how did somebody even catch that and think to even research that?
But did it fit within the setting though?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it fit just fine. But somebody somewhere caught that and put it up on IMDb, I think, as like a trivia piece to the movie, and it was like, these Oakley sunglasses, they haven't come out yet. They are in this time.
At that point, you're just being nitpicky with it.
Oh, absolutely. I think that well, first off, you got to be pretty dang smart to see something like that and notice
Honestly, it would have flown right past me.
I think it flew right past about 99.98% of viewers.
And when it comes to things like that, I feel like they have to watch the movie consistently. Because I'm one of those people that will watch the movie just once and say, okay, it's pretty good.
Right.
Come back to it, maybe 6 months, a year.
Yeah.
Because it's a classic.
Yeah, and I can't say that I sit down. I mean, okay, I will say Avengers Endgame, I went and saw twice in theaters, and then I watched it again recently.
So how many times have you watched it in total?
Three times.
Okay.
Almost 4. I watched it about halfway through another time and then ended up not finishing it.
Oh, okay. It was one of those nights where you ended up falling asleep.
Yeah, one of those nights. But yeah, no, I mean, I thought, that's just one of those movies, though, I guess. But there are some movies, I'll watch, and it could be a good movie. It doesn't have to be a bad movie. It could be a good movie, but I'll never watch it again.
Yeah.
Or I may watch it like 10 years down the road.
Yeah, that's me. It's those movies that are just classics, your Sandlots and your superhero movies, you know, those old Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Dude, how about Braveheart? How do you like that movie?
I liked it. I thought it had a good story to it.
Dude,
honestly.
I remember as a kid watching Braveheart, and I remember my mom covering my eyes because there's a titty scene. Oh. And so I was, but I never knew why, because I was like 5 or 6 at the time, so I didn't know what was going on. But I remember the rest of the movie. She let me watch, and there's dudes getting their heads chopped off and stuff, and she's like, "Oh yeah, no big deal."
That's what's so crazy to me is the way censorship works. Now that you talk about that, is that how our society, we're so afraid to see the naked human body, but it's okay to display someone's head getting chopped off,
right? Or like just like super barbaric acts, like in general. Like, yeah, it that is kind of amazing. Let's not get into the whole hashtag free the nip thing, because that That's just a whole nother controversy.
No, I'm not saying
You
that
know,
in
I should probably
general.
write that one down.
Good idea.
That's a good one.
Maybe put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Patent that.
yeah.
That's
But,
that's what just I know it's kind of off topic because we were talking about movies, but it's so strange to me how you can see a Facebook post of someone just getting run over, but then you see full frontal nudity, and that's frowned upon.
right, yeah, it is kind of crazy. Or like I was saying, like the barbaric acts, like like even the news media will post videos and stuff of stuff going on like in the Middle East.
Yeah,
Like people getting drugged around by their hair and beat in the streets or stoned in the streets and just crazy stuff like that. And then, but holy cow, a nipple!
yeah.
How dare you?
Everything
How dare
just
you
blows
show
out
that?
of proportion, or if someone starts swearing on the TV,
Yeah,
that's considered worse than showing those kinds of acts
right.
on the news.
I wonder where the whole rating system came from. Like, I wonder who was the first person to think about that.
I hear that they do vary though. Now that you mentioned that, from what I was reading, that in England it's a whole different world out there, is what it sounds like when it comes to censorship. That they're more okay with that kind of stuff.
I could see that. I mean, they're a lot different in politics and their political agendas just to begin with. So I can see, like, for whatever reason, politics has to bleed over into everything.
Yeah,
But typically, depending on your politics, is kind of how you view certain things, right?
I think so.
I would guess that if you're a certain political group or something, you're gonna accept some things over another. Whereas it, like in America, if you're right wing, you're most, or not most, but majority of the time you meet somebody who's a right winger.
Yeah.
They have religious background in
Usually.
some way, shape. It doesn't mean that they are religious, but they have religious background. Like
those
me,
teaching,
like,
those bases.
yeah, I was raised in church. Yeah, I don't go to church. I don't believe in the all that stuff necessarily. But and then leftists completely different.
Yeah.
A lot of them, they didn't have the same background that I did. Growing up in a church or something like that. And so it just, I think that's partly plays into how things are rated, because there are people rating the movies. It's just
Yeah.
normal people rating a movie, just like anything else.
People like
So,
us.
people like you and I, we could be out rating movies.
Do we get tickets when we go, when we do rate those movies? Like, we get free entry into the shows?
I think that's something we need to work on, is like showing up to like these movie premieres. Could you imagine, like, in like tuxedos? I mean,
Who is this guy?
it'd be really cool to like be like really ironic, like in Step Brothers when they show up to a job interview in tuxedos for like cleaning toilets.
I would be that
But-
guy that shows up in shades and looking like a Men in Black agent.
Now that could be something.
I like
You
that.
could be onto something there. We
Could
got to
be.
get like a really cool looking, sleek black car though that fits in,
Good idea.
and just walk up like we own the place.
And it sounds like I kind of come from the same background as you, growing up in the church, having those views, kind of bringing that whole sense of unity and into the people and trusting people. So what I hate is how here in the U.S. you're either right or left. Why can't we all just coexist?
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think there's a lot of craziness in that, but yeah,
Just kind of hoping that the message comes out through this podcast too, is that everyone is welcome.
yeah, no, that's exactly what we're doing here, is just open forum and kind of hang out and talk about different topics and see where it goes, see where our minds take us.
Yeah, and promote positivity with it.
Yeah, I'm over the negative stuff.
Too much
Dude, there's
of it,
too much negativity in everything.
especially
even-
in the U.S. media.
Even in the film industry, there's look at Rotten Tomatoes. Every single movie
man.
that comes out, man, Rotten Tomatoes is like, it's like negative reviews, and it could be a really good movie.
Stuff like I know The Lion King ended up getting a 53% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's crazy, because
The
it's
newer one, right?
it just passed $1 billion.
Yeah.
So so right now there's 3 movies in that just passed $1 billion, and that's The Lion King, Spider-Man, and then and Aladdin. Those
Okay.
and those 3 are all owned by Disney.
And all three of those
$3
movies are awesome.
billion. Do you know how much they bought Marvel for?
No, I'm pretty sure it was pretty steep.
$4 billion. They just made $3 billion off of 3 movies, and one of them being a Marvel movie. I was reading, or I read this article the other day that said that they bought Marvel for $4 billion. They've already made $18 billion off of the Marvel franchise.
It's a whole. What I like is that they're not making it all kid friendly too with
Right.
it,
Yeah.
and the way they bought Star Wars too. I
Oh my
like the new
gosh.
Star Wars movies.
You know, I like them and I hate them all at the same time.
What were your
I
takes on the Last Jedi?
Okay, so The Last Jedi, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan as well. I'm just a
Same.
nerd. I'm just a nerd.
You and me both.
I'm a loser.
Honestly, I was that guy that had my tickets, bought my Star Wars tickets a month in advance,
Dude, you know,
and sat out that. I was outside of the theater during the premiere of it.
yeah. So I've seen every single Star Wars movie that's come out in theaters since basically I was old enough to.
Episode 1, right?
No. I didn't go see episode 1 and 2. My parents didn't take me. But
Okay.
episode 3, when Revenge of the Sith came out, I believe I was in 6th grade, and me and a buddy of mine, we walked to the movie theater from the middle school, because I went to Frontier.
Okay.
And so we walked over there, and we got our movie, or we went to go wait in line. Dude, I mean, we live in a small town, right? The theater was so packed, the line went down the entire building, down the side, and you know that field that's out there?
Yeah, yeah.
It was just a snake of people
Oh my
out into that field.
I remember I was there during the opening weekend. I didn't watch it the first day it came out. I watched it the second day.
Oh, this
for
was
Revenge of
the
Sith.
first day.
And it was packed.
I think we waited in line for movie tickets for like 5 or 6 hours. I can't remember exactly.
I believe it too.
But every Star Wars movie that's come out since Revenge of the Sith, I have been in theaters and I have watched. And most of the time it was on the opening night, or if not the second night.
So when it comes to Star Wars movies, are you one of those guys that just completely hates the prequels, or you think they're okay?
No, okay. Let's get back to your first was about The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Okay, so with The Last Jedi, I went and saw it in theaters.
I did.
And I didn't like it. When I left the theaters, I felt disappointed. I felt empty when I left. And that was a really bumming feeling. I've never felt that way leaving the theater for a Star Wars movie before. And so that one was like the first time that I left, and I was like, man. But the funny thing is I once it came out on Netflix, and they released it on Netflix, I watched it again, and I was like, it's actually a lot better the second time I watched it.
Was that a J.J. Abrams joint?
No, this one
Okay.
was Ryan Johnson, I believe, is who directed this one.
Okay.
But it wasn't until the third time that I watched it that I actually enjoyed it. Like I actually like I don't know if maybe I picked up more on it. Maybe I was reading. You know, we were just talking about the positivity and the negativity of things. So many negative Star Wars fans are out there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a negative fan base.
And when it comes to that, I try to ignore it.
Oh my god,
Especially
it's
when
horrible.
you're such a big fan of that franchise. I try to ignore all the nitpicky fans that come with it.
Yeah, man, it's just a horrible like group of people half the time, and so maybe that's what was getting to me. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah,
I could see that.
I will say, Rogue One. How did you like that?
Yeah, that's one of the ones I didn't enjoy very much.
What?
I did like the portrayal of Poe Dameron though. He was kind of like a knockoff Han Solo.
Eddie, you didn't like Rogue One.
It was I was really excited for it. And so when I did watch it, I watched it in theaters too, now that you
Oh
mentioned
my
that.
gosh.
And it's just the one I had mixed feelings about because at the end of the day, you know, spoiler alert again. Hold on, we'll take a brief pause. All right, go. And when it comes to that, I liked how at the end of the day, you know, Poe Dameron saves the day.
Yeah.
Wait, was it? No. That wasn't his name, was it?
No,
that's
you're
the
talking about
that's the
Oh my goodness.
he flies one of the fighters. My bad.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
That's a different series on that one.
You know what? That's a good place to pause real quick.
Okay.
If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We're gonna have tons more content coming out just like this, doing a raw, unedited cut. I don't care how many mistakes we made. We'll make the edits on the actual podcast, right? But on the video, this is just a raw, unedited cut, and we hope you guys like what you guys see. And if you want to see more, there should be a link down below. Actually, I shouldn't say there should. There will be a link down below. Go to the podcast, check it out, We'll have more content just like this. If you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see, please go ahead and comment. And Eddie, thanks for coming and doing this with me today.
You got it.
So I appreciate it, my brother.
Not a problem.
All right.